Welcome to the HBCU podcast. You're listening to episode 52. If you're an avid listener or just joining us for the first time, here we're joined by some awesome HBCU grads in the form of co-host and guest. We also focus on all the great things HBCU alumni are doing all over the world. On this episode, we speak with Mr. Ray Cunningham. He's a graduate of Virginia State University. Ray is a multimedia maven who has established himself on various platforms, including radio, television, and digital. He's best known for putting his HBCU on the map as a cast member of BET's College Hill, and now a cast member of VH1's Love and Hip Hop Hollywood. During this episode, we discuss his career, his HBCU experience, and his new HBCU board game, Yardopoly. Keep listening. It's the HBCU podcast.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Mr. Ray, or Ray Cunningham, whichever life you know me in. I'm a 2006 graduate of Virginia State University.
So, Ray, again, thank you so much for being a guest on the podcast. I'm so excited to chit-chat with you.
I'm excited to talk to you.
Yeah. So excited because I'm a fan, and we'll get into exactly all of that. But I know you're from Richmond, Virginia, right?
Yes, I'm from Richmond, Virginia. Yeah.
Okay. And I've spoken to a few Virginia natives on the podcast, and I'm always curious to know, when it came down to you guys, making that decision to go to college, how did you even choose? Because Virginia has like 5 HBCUs, and I think the only people with that tough decision is your state, a few of them in North Carolina, and then in Atlanta. But you guys have a lot of cool ones to choose from. So how did you come about that?
Maryland has a good handful as well.
Yeah, but you guys, I feel like you're all in kind of close proximity.
We're all super close. Growing up, I grew up in Richmond, the city of Richmond. And Virginia Union, is downtown Richmond, and 20 miles up the highway is Virginia State University. And then if you want to go a little further down, maybe about another hour or so on the road, you'll end up at Hampton University and Norfolk State University. And for those of you who are over the age of 30, there was also St. Paul's College that was open in Lawrenceville, Virginia, before they closed, unfortunately. So there was growing up in Virginia, I used to watch A Different World, and I used to think that Hillman looked like Virginia State because all of my family just about has gone and graduated from Virginia State University, and my uncle used to be the football coach there. So I grew up at Virginia State. I have pictures of myself when I was a little kid at the tailgate. So when it came time to graduate from high school, shout out to Henrico High in Richmond, Virginia, I didn't have out-of-state grades. My sisters had out-of-state grades. My brothers had out-of-state grades. I'm the more social. I was the baby of the group, and I was the more social, outgoing, fun party one.
Okay.
I was not thinking about college. I was just like, yeah, whatever. Okay, when I get there, I'll deal with it. So, when I graduated, my dad was like, you can go to Virginia State. You can go to Virginia Union. Pick your choice. And I was like, Union? Virginia State? Like, that's home. He was like, well, when you get some out-of-town grades, you can go out of town.
Oh, wow.
You right here.
I think a lot of us have heard that.
Yeah, like my sister was at A&T, one was at Elizabeth City, then I had, my stepbrother was down in Morehouse, so it was like, I wanted to be away. But, I made that choice, of course, Virginia State University. It wasn't, thank God I went to Virginia State, because my television career started at Virginia State University, so it was all in the making.
Yeah, it was all in the stars. So, like you said, you got to Virginia State University, and you had a major in what there? Like, what was the career that you thought you would be pursuing when you stepped on campus?
So my original major going into college was English endorsement. So for those of you who don't know endorsement, that's education.
Okay.
I wanted to actually be an English teacher. But my first semester, they gagged me. They said, I looked at my schedule and it said elementary statistics. And I was like, I think I got the wrong class on on my schedule. She was like, no, all education majors have to take elementary statistics. And I said, oh, well, then I guess I need to change my major. So
I
then I
hear
was just
that.
an English major. Then I switched to just English as an English major for a semester. And it was just nothing but papers and papers and papers and papers. And I was like, this is boring. If I can't teach English, what am I going to do with just being an English
Right.
major? So they had just started a department. They just started when I got there. Shout out to the mass communications department. And I went to like an informative session about it just to learn about, what PR was. Because believe it or not, in 2006, PR was brand new.
Yeah. Yeah.
Public relations was brand new, but I loved the presentation. I loved the group projects that they had on the syllabus. I loved that we got to, plan events, coordinate events. We got to review the events. We got to market the events. I just love the whole curriculum breakdown of mass communications and specifically what PR said, and it spoke to me. And that's when I declared my major. And of course, my parents were like, "What the hell is PR?
What's
What
a
is public
PR?
relations?" And
Right.
so now PR is like one of the top job, positions to have in communications and whatnot across the board. But yeah, I
Yeah.
just took a leap of faith with that, and I said that sounds good to me. I'm gonna try that because I knew I wasn't doing elementary statistics.
Oh my gosh, you sound just like me. I mean, we had a mass comm major at Claflin, but I
Mhm.
really chose my major, and I told the story a few times on the podcast, by the one
Mhm.
that had the least math, because math has never been my forte. So,
Math is foreign to me. Okay.
same. So when I saw that, I was like, oh, it's just one math. I think I'm going to be mass comm journalism.
Mhm. Yeah. I don't even know nobody's paper I can copy off of in this class. I said, this ain't it.
Shout out to the copy strategy. You were like, wait a minute, if we're
Hello.
going to do it,
Listen, I had already got that speech. You got 4 years. Every grade you get comes out of my checkbook. So you better make it count. So
make it count.
I
Okay, so look, we can't even, I can't even talk to you, Ray, without even mentioning just how you and several other individuals really helped put Virginia State on the map, right? So you
yes,
guys are cemented, I would say, in pop culture, just
we
as
are. That's crazy.
right as like just the first to ever do it. So what we're talking about is you being on BET's reality series College Hill, and basically what we know as the first Black reality show. So I
We
was a
are. We are the
huge
mother.
fan.
We are the mother of reality TV, and it's crazy to hear people like you and then even the younger people and people on social media say, "Oh, I watched you guys, and you're the reason we went to college." Because I wasn't even thinking 10 to 15 years forward. I was just, okay, I'm a senior. I'm a mass comm major. I don't have an internship yet. I don't have a job yet. I graduated in a couple months. What's next for me? So that's what I was thinking. So when I went
Yeah.
into this show, I was filming um, I was filming this show during my senior year. We were still taking finals, still taking midterms, still having to travel to our, New York and Miami and LA for promotional things, and still trying to still. And I was still Ray from Richmond, but I was Ray from Richmond on a larger scale, and then it was more opinions, and then it was more outfits, and then it was just more of everything. And it was just like,
I think
okay, my
we
bubble is popping.
graduated at the same time. So basically, I was following you guys along because I went into college
Wow.
in 2003. I graduated in 2006. So
Okay.
as this show was airing, the first season, second season, we were all just kind
Hmm.
of like watching. So it was
Yeah, like I didn't
really,
understand it. Yeah.
yeah, it was really cool to watch. But
It wasn't real world. I do remember watching earlier seasons before us, and I knew it wasn't real world because that was my goal. I said I want to be in the real world, and I remember they all had auditions in Richmond one time, and I didn't for whatever reason I didn't go. So when this opportunity came to Virginia State, I did not audition because I said, "Oh, I want to be on the real world still," and people were talking about me in their interviews apparently, and then they came and found me and auditioned me right there in band practice
look at
the
that.
week of homecoming. And then the rest is history.
Went and found you. Let me find out. You were scouted for
they
the
came,
reality
they
TV.
Tracy Edmonds came to my band rehearsal. I was sitting there learning Oh, I don't remember the song we were performing there, but I think we were doing a dance routine to Missy Elliott, Pass That Dutch. I don't know why I couldn't get it. Just because I'm talking about it, I remember it in my head. And she said she was standing there, and I knew who she was. I was like, that's the lady to be in Jet Magazine. That's Babyface's wife. Like, I knew
Right.
who she was. I was already up on pop culture. I was like, that's Miss Tracy Edmonds. I know who she is. And she pulled me to the side and was like, people have been auditioning for the last 2 weeks, and your name keeps coming up as you're in all the mess. And I was like, excuse me? She's like, you know everything about everybody. She named the cast to me right then. She was like, what do you think about Rodney? What do you think about Deidre? What do you think about Orlando? And what do you think about only two people I didn't know was Bianca and Will because they were freshmen. But
Mhm.
everyone else I knew organically. And she said, this is it. You're our eighth person. So I was the last person, but I didn't audition.
That's crazy. Nice.
Yeah, so shout out to Tracy Edmonds.
Now, do you keep in contact with everybody, like your castmates slash classmates? Like, how are you guys
So
in contact?
social media has been a really big help with keeping in contact with everyone. But on a regular basis, I do talk to Rodney and Deidre, of course. But just recently, we had a marathon air on BET where BET showed the Virgin Islands season and the Atlanta season.
Mm-hmm.
And we all, as a cast, overall from seasons 1 through 7, got together on a little. On the first, it was a chat thread. Then it was an Instagram DM thread where we had everybody on there, and that's when we put together that video that we posted just
Yeah,
showing everybody 15, 10 years later.
I
And it got a lot of
know.
response. It was on Bossip, it was on Jasmine Brand. And people like we each of us got I think 10 to 20,000 followers. Like people hadn't seen us and didn't know who was who. And of course, when they saw my part of the video from Love and Hip Hop, they were like, "That's where we know Mr. Ray from."
Right.
Yes,
That's
20 pounds lighter.
crazy. That's crazy that it's
Hmm.
been 15, what, 15, 16 years?
It's been 15 years for my season. Yeah,
Oh my gosh, that's so crazy.
it's
So,
cool.
so with that though, basically you got your feet wet with College Hill, and then you joined
Hmm.
the cast of Love and Hip Hop Hollywood. So
Literally
how did that
10
come about
years
for you?
later.
Yeah, how did that come
It
about
had
for
been
you?
about it had been about 10 years since I've been back on television as a cast member on an ensemble show. But I was on Roland Martin's News One Now on TV One show doing weekly correspondence. I was on the radio show in DC doing entertainment news. I was also the digital host for WeTV for 6 years. So I was recapping shows, hosting the red carpet premiere. So I was still in the mix,
Still
but it was
grinding.
more so still grinding, still working. I had a real corporate job while I was doing all this. I was working at Amtrak, actually. A lot of people did not know that. My father, Amtrak's a family business for us. So I was over there doing PR at Amtrak back and forth from Chicago, making all this other stuff work. And all of my friends, who, when I used to live in LA, if you remember, I moved to LA when I first graduated, and I was there for about 5 years. And there I met Eric Hazel E., who was my first publicist when I moved to LA. It was on College Hill,
Okay.
and she was repping Tierra Marie. So that's how I met Tierra.
Mm-hmm.
She also used to work with Jason Lee, and that's how I met Jason Lee back in the day when he and I were very close at one point in time before he got into all the mogul that he is now.
Right.
Working with Ray J through WeTV, I've done was a publicist on the red carpet. It took Fizz out a couple times on several different occasions on different things. I knew Monique through mutual friends, very close mutual friends. When I actually left LA to go to Atlanta, I met Masika in Atlanta through Drea from Basketball Wives. That was my girlfriend at the time. And then I also met Nia Riley down there. And so by the time I had got to DC and I was working, all my friends were cast members on the first season of Love and Hip Hop. And I was always jokingly saying to the girls, like, oh, if I still lived in LA, I'd be on that show. They're like, for sure. So when I decided I was done with Amtrak, didn't want to be um, a corporate guy anymore, I said I felt my calling was back in television because things with Roland Martin was going really good. WeTV was going really good.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to get back into PR, but for myself and for projects that I was passionate about, which included the HBCU initiative. that unfortunately didn't go all the way through with Amtrak, but I got it started.
Mm-hmm.
I said I want to go back to LA. So I landed, girl, I lied to you not, in August. Mona and them were calling me in September, and I was filming by February.
Oh, I love it. So look, I'm so glad you gave us the breakdown just like that, Ray. Listen, because
Hmm.
I'm one of the people who always look at the show and I'm like, they don't really know each other. They don't
Well,
really
most of
know
the
each
time,
other.
that's how it goes. Originally, when I first came into Love and Hip Hop, it was more so about basically you have to be organically intertwined with majority of the existing cast.
Mm-hmm.
So and it was a shoe in for me. I mean, everybody from like I said, Monique, Nia, Masika, Tierra, Hazel, Jason. Since I mean, I knew everybody, and I knew people in other cities as well from like I said, living in Los Angeles, we were all starting out around the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So it was organic for me. It was more like a homecoming for me because I was like, oh, I get to come to LA and film with my girlfriend. But lo and behold, I didn't know Mona had Zell up her sleeve, child. So
Oh,
Love and Hip
Zell.
Hop went from a homecoming to a horror nightmare, but it's cool.
Yeah, that season, I was like, first of all, one, where did so he and Tierra are really related?
That's what they say.
That's what they say. Okay.
I have no receipts and I have no confirmation of that.
But look, before we get off on a whole nother, because I'll get into it with you because I'm a fan. I'm a real huge reality TV person. But I'm glad
And
that
I'm
you.
gonna give you the honest answer.
But I'm so glad that you talked about how you really did know everybody, and I think that's why I really liked watching that particular those particular seasons because it did seem like you
Hmm.
guys knew each other, and when it came
Well,
to
it
the
was a
events.
conflict. It
Oh,
started out as a conflict because again, my loyalty, in Hazel's eyes, my loyalty should have been to her because that was my first publicist and she had been on the show since it started. But Masika was also my girlfriend as well, who she was feuding with, who I introduced to Hazel, who was another reason I got on the show. So it was so many layers to that season.
there were so many, and yeah, like you said, Zale was a curveball, and I was like, he's
Hmm.
doing too much, and
But we're in a blessed and sanctified holy place
I've seen
now.
that. I've seen that, and I love how you have the ability to forgive and move forward.
I'm too forgiving. I'm too forgiving at times, but in the name of reality TV, either you deal with it or you live with it for seasons to go.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense.
So I'm curious to know because, like you said, you knew people and a lot of people who do go into reality TV. Did you
Hmm.
go in with like a game plan, an angle, or is it mostly led by production? Like, did you say, "Hey, I have this going on, and so I'm going to use this opportunity to promote that"? Kind of like, what was your game plan going into Love and Hip Hop?
I honestly did not have a game plan going into season 4 of Love and Hip Hop. I just knew that I was a new cast member, and people had always been asking me throughout the years since College Hill on various platforms, would you ever do another show? And I always said if I did another show, it has to be bigger and just as significant, if not more significant, than College Hill.
Mm-hmm.
And in all honesty, there's nothing bigger than Love and Hip Hop for this current era and this generation.
Yeah, it's
And I
huge.
said, this will be and so I was more so just excited to be back on television, to be back in the mix. I'm working with my girlfriends. So, I didn't think it'd be a stretch. Unfortunately, with reality TV, they can't cover everything.
Mm-hmm.
On top of it being a large ensemble cast of 30 of us, a lot of the projects that I was involved with contractually, like WeTV and TV One and other things that I was involved with, could not be shown on the show for copyright and for legal purposes. They couldn't show enough me hosting and doing correspondence for another network was
Mm-hmm.
considered a competing network. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So I had to then fall back and emphasize other aspects of my life that might not have been my main focus,
Mm-hmm.
which was social status. That was my PR company that I started back in 2008. And I was like, well, I need them to see me doing some work. So I said, well, let me just, bring this company because, I was working for other networks at the time doing PR for them. So now I had to do it for myself. and go find clients and try to get work to make it, to show something on camera that I was using my degree for something.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times that's a conflict for a lot of us on reality television. We don't get to promote our outside projects because they aren't in alignment with our contract for the network, if that makes sense.
Yeah, total sense. I think I saw while you were on there, you were helping Masika in her beauty line and maybe like coordinate a launch party, I believe it was.
Oh, that launch party was the launch party from hell, honey. Everything that we planned to have in that episode, in that scene, we could not have in the scene because there are rules and regulations on set. You can't have certain objects or you can't have certain things because they could be deemed on this show as a weapon.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm coming from college too. I'm thinking we could set up, have a punch bowl, we could have
Right.
an ice fountain, we could have makeup stations. Anything that ain't gluten tacked down in Love and Hip Hop world is considered a weapon.
Oh
So that's
no.
why y'all saw that empty table, because everything that we ordered and Masika and I ordered, they could not have on camera because it could have potentially turned into a weapon, specifically in that scene.
That is crazy. That is
So
so
don't think
crazy.
I plan parties with bare tables. I don't do that.
No, we didn't think so, and I mean now that you say that and point that out, it does make a lot of sense. But yeah, I'm so glad that there was an opportunity for us to see you doing that in PR,
hmm
and just a lot of going back to your basic career path. I mean,
hmm
let's talk about that just a little bit too, because you are so like multifaceted. You mentioned social status. Of course, you've done like correspondent work and different things like that. And just to tie it back to HBCUs and how you got into mass comm, how much of that did you learn at Virginia State and that you were able to apply to what you currently do?
A lot of what I learned about mass communications, I learned from hands-on experience.
Okay.
Prior to graduating, I was able to intern at different events in Richmond and in DC. And of course, once College Hill came along, I actually took a PR internship before I actually started working with BET at the network, doing corporate communications, working on the various shows and whatnot. So everything I really learned, I was hands on with. The school coursework basically gave me the outline of how PR is run, from the who, the what, the when, the where, and getting the logistics of it. But the hands on comes from hands on experience.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair.
Because PR is something I don't feel like you can put PR in a box and say this is what public relations is, because
It's
with
always
all these different
evolving.
social medias, it's always evolving.
Yeah.
So one year, when I came out, it was only Facebook if you had an EDU email address and
Mm-hmm.
MySpace. Now it's like 15 different things you can use to promote yourself, to share links and create, GIFs and different JPEGs. And it's just so many different ways to promote your message now, versus when I first started. So for me, I love PR because I'm always getting to learn something new.
And for you too, I kind of come from that background too, in a lot of what I do for not just the HBCU podcast, but in my regular job. But how is it
hmm
for you that you stay sharp and continue to learn new things? Like, what's that process like for you?
The process pretty much for me, because my schedule is pretty hectic with filming Love and Hip Hop. We do film for about 10 months out the year. So pretty much everything I learned through social media or YouTube.
YouTube
So
University.
yes, YouTube gives out needs to give out degrees, because I had the hardest time trying to figure out TikTok. Other than putting my name on there, I didn't know what to do, how to do it. I had to have my nieces show me what I was doing. But social media really is the leading force of what's changing our dialogue with everybody.
We would be nowhere if we didn't have social media right now during this pandemic. Like it's
I
a
mean, everything
lifesaver.
I get is on Twitter. I mean, I wake up, I check my Twitter. I follow a couple of news outlets. So I read, I get the news from there, because I'm not going to sit on my couch and actually watch the news, but I read it. And same thing with Instagram, same thing with Facebook, same thing with Pinterest and YouTube, and I mean every other form of social media that's out there. All of our information comes from these social media apps. So it's kind of cool to work in PR, because it gives you a reason to be on Instagram and Twitter and trying to keep up with the trends and what the new
Hmm.
apps are and what's the new hashtag and what's the new logo and what's the new trend now to promote yourself and to gain organic followers. Like, I just love that PR is always ever changing because I have ADHD. I need something that's going to keep my attention, and I think I made the best choice with going into PR because, again, it is. I mean, they combined business marketing and advertising into PR now. It's all one thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I love it.
So many people, of course, know you from reality TV, and
Hmm.
you've used that, as you said, as a means to promote your endeavors. But you have something so amazing that I just saw,
Hmm.
a board game
Hmm.
called, is it Yardopoly?
It is Yardopoly.
Which I love. Just I love the name. I saw the web site. So first of all, what made you create this board game? And tell everybody like what it is and everything.
I'm so excited. Yardopoly is my baby. I always say that's my legacy project because my goal has always been to give back to HBCUs, but I didn't want to do it in the traditional way. I didn't want to just write a check to my school. I didn't want to just donate money to United Negro College Fund or Thurgood Marshall. I wanted to actually have something that tangible that we can actually put our hands on and use, learn from, have fun with, and can connect generations. And it could, just be my way of saying, I'm a proud product of this. I'm proud to be a part of this community and this family, and I want to give back and bring more people into this family. And I'm good for a game night. I live in LA. We're good for a taco night. And I was like, what if we had an HBCU version of Monopoly? Because I was in
Ooh.
Walmart one day. No, excuse me. I was in Books a Million with my sister, actually. Shout out to Samantha. And I saw Golden Girls Opoly. I saw Game of Thrones Opoly. I saw Pokemon Op. All these Opolis of every origin, of every background and type of thing. But there was nothing black.
Yeah.
There was nothing black. Whether it was make believe or real, there was nothing black. And I said, you know what? That means we should. I want to create an HBCU themed Monopoly game. So the first version I created back in 2018, and I drew it out, wrote it out, and I was like, so then when I started getting into the legal aspect of it, you can't use the school's name, you can't use their mascots, can't use their colors. So I was like, oh, back to square one. What am I gonna do? So 2019, I was like, okay, let me get this together. Let me rearrange it. Let me make it about the yard aspects of the Black student life. Because I have one of my best friends. He didn't go to a HBCU. He went to a PWI, and I bring him to homecoming every year. He's like so like in love with the culture of the school. And I said, that's what it is. It's not about what school you went to. It's just about the culture of the yard. So
Yeah.
I said, let me make this game about the yard. So I have, homecoming and step shows and SGA elections. And,
Love
it's
it.
just, it was just a labor of love. It took 2 years to complete. Unfortunately, right now with the, COVID-19 going around, the manufacturer is closed right now until they open back up. But the game will be available for pre-sale this summer and will be fully available online this fall. And I'll be going to various homecomings and selling it at the tailgate as well.
Oh, I love it. We're gonna have to connect
Hmm.
because whenever Claflin's homecoming comes around, we could definitely do something. Um,
I would love to. I've heard of Claflin. I have not been to Claflin, but I know exactly. And that's one thing I loved about this game. I wanted to make sure that I was inclusive to all HBCUs, not just the token 10.
yeah.
I wanted everybody to be. I wanted everybody from every college campus, whether it was from Oakwood or was a former Morris Brown alumni. I wanted everyone to be able to connect on this game, and I feel like this game would connect generations. I feel like you'll get some really good HBCU trivia. There's some pop culture references that have HBCU related stuff involved in it, and may the best person win. And I love it because I mean you're learning about our culture and why these schools existed in the first place for us.
Yeah, I love it. When I
You
went
know.
to the website, I was like, this is genius. Can't believe that, it didn't already exist. And just from what you guys showed on there, as far as the
Hmm.
graphics, I love the one that said collect student refund.
Yes, I mean I mean it's real. If you went to a HBCU, when those student refund checks came out, everybody was headed to the mall.
Listen here, it was the day. Like if you didn't know what was going on and you popped out of the classroom wherever your administration building was and there was a little bit of a line, you said, "Oh, I know what time it
Hmm.
is."
But the overall goal that I have for Yard, like the big scheme, I'm looking 10 years and more ahead of this. I want Yard Off to be more than just a board game. But my immediate goal is to become the first Black-owned board game that offers scholarships to the customers. So of course, I'm going to have some scholarship information, some pamphlet information in there where I want people to apply for a Yardopoly scholarship if they are an undergrad.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to be able to award money to students every year from myself, as well as a portion of my proceeds will be going yearly to the Thurgood Marshall College Fund as well. So I want this to be an annual thing. I want to have a gala, and black tie gala in DC or in Atlanta, and I want to give out this money to scholarships. I want to promote black businesses, and I want this to become a whole big thing.
Yeah.
That's my vision for it.
And I think it's so awesome, so great. I believe in the vision. I love it. Like, I will be one of the first people to pre-order,
Thank
because
you.
I have a niece, and pretty much everybody in my family, I was a first generation college student, but everybody afterwards, like, I've basically hammered HBCUs into their choices. And so my sister went to Payne, one of my sisters went to South Carolina
Okay.
State, one of my
Okay.
cousins went to Claflin too. And of course, this board game would be
Ah,
perfect for my niece, who we're trying to raise up to make sure she goes to an HBCU as well. So
right.
I
And I
love
just
it.
want, and the response has been so overwhelming from other alumni to people that teach at different colleges or different high schools or middle schools. A lot of educators have been hitting me up saying, when can they order the game? And multiples, like they want all their students to know about it. Because I'm telling you, there's an HBCU graduate in any business on any floor
Yep,
of any building. I promise you.
definitely.
There
That's the
is.
truth.
So, yeah, but this is what I call my legacy project, because I was like, I gotta have something that I give back to my community, because I got my start in entertainment from Virginia State University. So
Hmm.
I will always be an HBCU advocate. I support my black colleges, big and small. I'll always advocate for us whenever any way I can. I just feel like this game will just reunite, like I said, generations of people, and let the culture vultures know that the history of these schools besides homecoming. You
Yeah.
know.
And that's crazy, because I was thinking too, just before you said that, the culture vultures will be buying it, because I feel like ever since Coachella, aka Beachella, everybody is
Yep.
enamored with anything HBCU related. So, but
They
that's
love it
that's
now. I
good.
mean,
That's good for
everything is.
business.
And thank you, Beyonce, because it was so crazy. Because when I was in a down period where I wasn't working on this game, it was in a notebook and with a bunch of notes and scribbled up pages. And when Coachella came on my birthday, when that aired, I was like, oh man, I really need to put this game out. Beyonce that made HBCUs popular again. Not saying that we were not popular, but we were now getting attention from a mainstream global icon,
Yeah.
who was paying homage to the schools that, created you and I. So I said, you know what, I'm wanting something with this. And every person I've spoken to about, donating or being a part of the team or whatnot, I'm like, I can't believe this hasn't been done before. I
Yeah.
said, yeah, I me either.
It was waiting on you. That's all. It was just
I'm
waiting on
I'm
you.
glad God gave me the vision to do it, and I'm glad that no one came and did it before me, because it literally took me 2 years. And girl, I can show you the first original graphic for it that I have for it. But shout out to Flex Graphics, who is an Omega. He's
Okay.
been doing all my graphics for me, so everything's been HBCU in house so far.
Yeah, I love that. That's awesome too. Whenever you can, continue to pass it on, whether it's just someone from your HBCU or another HBCU, just to get involved in something, that's
Hmm.
always awesome to do. So I love to hear that.
And that's why I love that School Days is on Netflix now. Like everything is just in perfect total alignment. I cannot
Yeah.
exaggerate to you, from the College Hill Marathon to School Days now being on there. I mean, and it's just been everything has just been PR wise. It's been a dream come true for me.
Nice. So we're going to talk a little bit more, because you kind of already touched on how you want to give back to HBCUs and all of that with
Hmm.
Yardopoly. But just from an advice standpoint, because as you know, we are speaking right now during COVID-19, during a pandemic that's
Yes.
happening globally. And the timing for this, a lot of students will not be walking. They'll still be receiving degrees, but they won't be going through their commencement ceremonies. They won't be doing a lot of the traditional things that graduating seniors usually do around this time. And one of those also includes, job searches and all that kind of stuff. You can still do it via online,
Hmm.
but not in person. So for you, if you could give any advice to an HBCU student who wants to kind of follow the same career path as you, Just with
Hmm.
this pandemic in mind, what kind of advice would you give to them?
Well, I first want to say shout out to the class of 2000, excuse me, 2020. Let me say that again.
2020.
Let me say congratulations to the class of 2020 high school students that are going to HBCUs and HBCU grads that are graduating and going off to work or to continue your education. My biggest advice that I give for anybody that wants to attend an HBCU or is questioning about attending an HBCU is, we get caught up in that whole, why do I want to go to an HBCU? Because the real world's not black. You never know which the real world may be because a lot of people come from inner cities, they go to HBCUs, and they work back in those same communities in which they were raised in. So
Hmm.
their real world is black. For those of us that go on and work in corporate America, no, the real world is not black, but they remind us daily that we are black. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think that you can go to an HBCU and kind of sort of discover who you are and discover your background, and discover the different types of people that make up us as African Americans. And as well, just because of you go to Claflin or you go to Virginia State. Well, I'm using myself for an example. I never thought that by me going to Virginia State in Petersburg, Virginia, would I end up on BET, moving across the country to Los Angeles and rubbing elbows with the people that I've been able to rub elbows with and do the things that I've been able to do, again, being born and going to college in Virginia. I
Hmm.
never thought that. Versus if you lived in Los Angeles, that's a possibility. You
Right.
live in Atlanta, it's a possibility. New York, it's a possibility. Virginia, it was not a possibility, but it became one. So that's why I always say it's great to market yourself within your major or market your strong points and whatever you're good at. So you can easily be a psychology major, but you're bomb as heck at putting on fashion shows and doing the logistics part of it. Like, always market what you're good at doing and let people know what you're good at. Like, don't focus on your flaws. If you know you ain't good at basket weaving, don't enter a basket weaving contest. That's what my dad always told me. You ain't good at it, don't enter it, don't do it. But what you're strong at and what you're good at and what you can market yourself from and make money from, put your energy into that. And so that's why I tell people research your HBCUs. Some schools offer nursing, some schools offer graphic design, some offer aquatic studies. I mean, whatever it may be, find out what your niche is. Find out where you feel like you can grow and feel comfortable, and that's where you should go. Whether it be an H, I always say an HBCU, but if you want to go to a PWI, that's also fine. But the most important thing is to know your identity and know who you are on your college campus.
Hmm. That's solid advice, man. I think that's one of the things too. We really don't push a lot and talk to people about a lot because finding yourself is so
Mhm.
important to whatever it is that you will do in the future. People can't
Mhm.
confuse you on what it is you'll be doing. They can't, try to change your vision, not when you have a really solid foundation of who you know you are already. And I think you do find that in college. It doesn't have to necessarily be in
Mhm.
an HBCU, but college is a really great time to do that.
And I will tell you guys this much too, and I don't think I've really even gone into this much detail about it, but since doing College Hill and doing the other things that been blessed to do, and now on Love and Hip Hop on VH1, I love being an alumni of a black college because when you go home for homecoming, I'm not Mr. Ray. I'm not Ray from Love and Hip Hop. I'm not even Ray from College Hill. I'm just Ray from Williams Hall
Yeah.
that's from Virginia. And it's like I get to see my friends. Of course, they want to catch up and talk about X, Y, and Z, but it's still a home feeling. And then it's the alumni and the parents of the alumni. And eventually, for me now, it's the kids of the alumni are recognizing me. So it's like a big family barbecue, and it's like time has not passed. You see a little gray hair here and there, but it's still a home feeling. They're not judging you for what they're not judging me specifically on what they've seen. They're just happy that I'm there. They're supporting me. I'm representing the university. I'm representing my hometown and my family. And they always look at the positive of everything. Like, that's us. When they see me up there, they say that's us. Like, that's Virginia State.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm always appreciative of my HBCU community.
Now, just because you brought up homecoming, what is some of your favorite homecoming memories of Virginia State?
Home, okay, the Civic Center. Virginia State always has a Civic Center party at homecoming downtown Petersburg. That's always a must too. I'm a low key. I'm a band head. I was a mascot for 2 years, so I definitely like to watch the drum line after the halftime performance and then going back into the band building. That's always fun.
Okay.
I mean, my typical tailgate. My father tailgates every year. Him and my uncle Willie tailgate every year. They usually win, actually. So between tailgating with my family and seeing friends, taking pictures, going to the drum line, hanging out in the yard, watching the fraternities and sororities step. Homecoming is pretty cool because Virginia State's campus is pretty much interconnected. So everything goes down the main street of the yard. So
Mm-hmm.
it could take you 2 hours to walk that yard at homecoming. I mean, you're stopping to get a drink, you're stopping to get food, or you're waiting 20 minutes to get to the bathroom, or whatever the case may be. I love everything about homecoming, even when it's cold outside.
Yeah, it's an experience.
Hmm.
Okay, so what does giving back look like for you? And if you have to encourage some of your fellow alumni to give back to Virginia State University, what would you say?
You know what? I think we're in a liberal time right now, where people aren't really into traditional ways of giving back. They want to do it in different ways, whether it's increasing the school's awareness on social media, or if it's mentioning the school or wearing the school's insignia on your respective platforms. There's so many ways to promote your university and the existence of it, other than just giving monetary
Mm-hmm.
donations. And I think that we need to get out of that. If you don't give money, you're not supporting the school. If these people promote your university at their job, that's recruitment. If they're promoting it at their church, that's giving back to community service. There's so many ways that we can give back as blacks to HBCUs other than just giving money. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And I feel like sometimes a lot of people are not in a position to give money. They may be living check to check in their dream home and paying for their car, or they have a baby on the way, or they have unexpected health issues, or they have family issues that need support. So, and they don't have money to give to the school. And I don't want them to ever feel like they're not a good person or they're
Mm-hmm.
not contributing to the HBCU community because they're not financially giving. But if you can give your time, give your effort, give your platform, give your mouth, and I say give your mouth in the most respectable way. I speak about HBCUs every which way I can. Now, whether it makes the cut, that's up to the editors.
Yeah.
But there's so many ways we can give back. I just feel like we need to be creative in ways that we give back to support our universities and keep them in a positive light.
Yeah. I think that's a great a point too. Just the other day, we had Reagan Farley, who works in PR, also on the podcast, and she's a Lincoln grad. And we did a little Facebook live, and not Facebook live, Instagram live, and we talked about, hey, how can we, because we're the walking billboards, we're the walking testimonials, how can we do better to help, promote and give to our HBCUs. And she had a bunch of great advice too. But I love that both of you mentioned the different service and acts of service that you could do to be as a contribution to your HBCU. So definitely keep that in mind too, people, because listen, going through financial hardships or whatever the case may be, that is a real thing for everybody at some point in life. And your giving is not always going to be monetary. So.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So, Ray, we are wrapping it up, but I've definitely enjoyed speaking to you again. Like I said, I'm a true fan. You hear it by me chatting about love and hip hop. I loved College Hill. It's been a while since I saw that, so I'm definitely going to go back and catch some of the old episodes. I feel like it's on Amazon
I
Prime,
think I
right?
believe it's on Amazon Prime. People told me that. I know for a fact that it's on iTunes as well.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm
But
definitely
no,
going to do that.
I'm just appreciative of having the support that I've had for 50. I can't believe I've been doing this now for 15 years, but I definitely appreciate everybody who tuned in and watched College Hill, who watched the reruns, the marathons, bought people have sent me pictures of the DVDs they bought. I don't even have the DVD. And I thank people for even tuning in. And though it's been a very dramatic journey on Love and Hip Hop, I appreciate the people for supporting me on Love and Hip Hop as well. And I hope you guys support and purchase Yardopoly. And like I said, there's different ways to give back to our HBCU community, guys. Whether, like I said, whether it's using your platform or using, like I said, your job and you doing active recruiting to get new students there. But again, we're all in this together, and I'm so appreciative to be a part of this HBCU family. And I encourage everybody to go to one so you can be a part of it because you never know. You
Yep.
might be applying for a job and somebody like you might have been my boss today and you went to Claflin and you recognize Virginia State and oh he's good, let's go.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
So I love it.
So tell the listeners what's coming up for you next that we should be on the lookout for, and where we can find just information on you on social media and more information about Yardopoly.
You can find information for Yardopoly online at www.yardopoly, that's YARDOPOLY.com, yardopoly.com. As well, you can find me specifically, Mr. Ray, that's MISSTERRAY, on all social media. Look for the blue check. I'm in the blue check game. As far as upcoming projects, I really can't tell you guys anything right now because everything is literally on hold because of COVID-19. So I don't know start dates, end dates, premiere dates. I know nothing.
Yeah.
But you all will be seeing me on several different platforms this fall, winter, and at the top of the year as well.
Awesome. And you guys, if you missed any of that, no worries. Everything, all the information that Ray just shared will be available to you at thehbcupodcast.com and in the podcast show notes. And you can find us on all the platforms, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at thehbcupodcast.com. Ray, again, thank you so much. I enjoyed speaking with you.
Thank you for having me. I so appreciate this. And whenever you need me back, just send me a DM, girl, and I'll be right back.
Awesome. Thank you so much for listening to the HBCU podcast. We have so much more HBCU content on the way, so make sure you subscribe to the podcast, rate the podcast, and visit us at thehbcupodcast.com. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at the HBCU Podcast. Like us on Facebook. We love you for listening. Until next time.